Hey guys, welcome back to another Fly Tying Tuesday with AvidMax. My name is Max, and today we're going to be tying the Orange Crush Micro Intruder. Super cool swing fly. With using the wire, it doesn't have to be presented just on the swing. You could also put it on a single hander and strip it, keeping that hook stiff instead of just dangling. Allows you the flexibility to do that. So. Get started here, really good, salmon, and steelhead fly, great for kind of wanting to get the fly down, something that's sparse. You're fishing like, maybe a deeper bucket or something and you need to drop that fly and you already have a fairly heavy sink tip on there. So having these fulling mill tungsten streamer eyes allows you to do that. Super cool. So we'll get her going. We start out with a Ahrex HR 412 low water single. This is the size 2. You could probably go down to the 4, but you could always just tie it a little bit shorter and cut back the hook a little bit more. So of course got the Semperfli Nano silk. This is the white, and I believe this is the 50. Super strong thread, doesn't build up a lot of bulk. So got some Loctite. Believe it or not, my Zap-A-Gap cap actually zapped onto the whole thing, so you can't get it off. Happens every now and then, so make sure you don't crank down the zapped lid too tight. Going with some thread wraps here. Really soaking up all that super glue, and we're going to tie in the dumbbell eyes first, and then we'll tie in our wire or intruder hook. So tag here. So I mentioned our tungsten streamer eyes. These are Chartreuse. This is the medium size. They do add a good bit of weight, so it helps drop that fly super quick. So I'm going to tie these on the top in a little bit of room, and then make a couple of wraps and we'll drop them down, and then I'll do some cross wraps and we'll do some figure eights. Just to help everything stay in place. And we'll work down to about where the barb is, our thread. It's a nice clean tie-in spot for our intruder wire on the shank. So we got some intruder wire, got the Chartreuse color. I don't think color matters all that much, but Chartreuse kind of goes with the Chartreuse eyes. And this is the large size. And then we got the Gama Octopus hook, nice wide gap. This is a size 2, good trout size. If you're going to tie for salmon, maybe go a little bit bigger, go to the 1. So thread this on there. I like to hold it so that hook is up, grab it, and I'm going to go up through the eye, then grab it, and I'm going to take my other end and go up through the eye again. Kind of even them up. I got both through there. To grab the tips, and then it creates this loop right here. I'm going to put my loop around the hook and pull it through. Make sure they're even. Tips even there. Slide it all the way up to the eye. So once I get it all the way up in there, kind of keeps that hook bent up a little bit. So I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to bend it kind of around the eye there. Kind of keeps things more level. With the upturned hook point, You're catching bottom a lot less, you know, if you are getting down into that deep bucket with the lead eyes or the tungsten eyes, then you're not snagging up on the bottom all the time. So tie this on there, make a couple loose straps, and then I'm going to adjust my length here. So want it too long, 1/4 of an inch or so, and I can make some tighter wraps. And I'll work all the way up. I want to try to keep those even on top of the hook, pieces of wire, and leave myself a little bit of room behind the eyes so that I can go in there with some little pliers and snip them out. Got that snipped out, and I'm going to add just a little more Loctite on there. Just make sure this bad boy never comes unglued. That secured in there super tight with our Loctite, and pull, just make sure it's in there super tight. Shouldn't be going anywhere. Never had anything slip out before. So build up just the body here. Like I said, very sparse. Not a ton of ingredients in this, so we got some diamond braid. This is the pearl, and it's going to go very nicely with our dual colored silly legs. So this, and we're going to tie this in right up behind the eyes. Just helps keep the evenness of the body as you're wrapping back up. So tie that in and work up to just behind the eyes there, and some hack pliers, always nice on the bench, real easy with these. Just put your finger in there and make sure you're making nice overlapping turns with the diamond braid. And then I like to re-grab right at the bottom. And capture a couple wraps each way. And that's probably the best thing about the Nano Silk, is just not building up the excess bulk when you really want to tie something down tightly. So, thanks, Semperfli. About that. And we'll go down the shank just a little bit, because now we're going to do a loop with some fin Raccoon. Like I said, endless color combinations. Stick to your more natural stuff for the trout game or steelhead game. Like a blue, purple, black combination for the steelhead, and salmon, more brighter colors to really piss them off. Contrary to what most people think, the salmon are not actually eating when they enter freshwater. You're really just getting them to have that territorial response from the fish as they're working upstream, trying to make their beds to spawn. So got some fin Raccoon here, and we're going to grab a patch of that. Don't want too much, so about a little puff. And then I'm going to pick out these longer, thicker hairs so that I'm just left with the guard hair underneath. This is good length, so I like using tweezers, D-loop tweezers here from Loon, And I'm just gonna lay this out. I'm gonna roll it, flatten them all out and spread them out a little bit. Trying to keep the base aligned or in a straight line. And go under with my tweezers. And re-grab. Now I got a nice spot ready for a dubbing loop. So I like doing that prior to making my loop, so you're not messing around with, the loop twisting up on you and whatnot. So now I can go ahead and create my loop, have my thread, and give yourself a good couple inches, a couple of wraps around, and leave yourself a good bit of room. And then work my thread back up to about where I'm going to finish. So I got my dubbing spinner, lay this in there, and sure those tips are pretty even, and I'm going to spin her up. With this one I want to go fairly slow with my spins, so that I can kind of keep plucking some of these out so it doesn't spin up on itself too bad. I got bodkin. Spinning. So this is going to help prop up our silly legs, and I'm going to brush it out more once we palmer it around. So if I can peel everything to one side, it's going to make it a lot easier to make our wraps. And we'll keep doing that each turn. Tight wraps against one another. Gonna save some room for the silly legs and our Schlappen. So work that all the way down to the thread. Some tightening wraps. Secure that really well. Snip out my loop. Now I can go in there with a brush. Kind of pull it back towards the eyes. A nice, or I think fox would also, Arctic fox would suffice. So there you go, nice sparse Raccoon. This card here is over here. Get rid of. Okay. And now I got the two-tone silly legs. You could go solid colors, kind of like the clear, just because we did the pearl, or it is more of like a pearl in there. So I like the pearl contrast, the flat braid, and the orange tips. So got about, six to eight legs, and I'm gonna now take my legs. I'm gonna cut them at an angle right in the middle of the pearl. So now I've just got half of them here. So the pearl is going to be what's hanging out the back, and the orange will blend in with the raccoon and the Schlappen. So once I get these, I'm going to keep all of them aligned just like this and snip them out so they become individuals. And we're going to lay them flat on top. We're going to tie some in on the top, some in on the bottom, and let them hang. So I'm trying to keep them all aligned on there. Grab them with my thread. They're kind of spreading around the shank. And I can kind of adjust them before I really crank down. And the tighter you can get them, the less little bulk you'll build up in the head here. So there's our first ones tied in the top. And then we got our bottom one here. So we'll flip the fly over. Really helps to have that rotary vise. I've been tying on the Regal for a couple years now, and I do enjoy it. It's a good vise. So even these ones up, so now we got that cut out again. Whip it. And we'll tie these in on the bottom. Keep them flat. So we got our legs on the top and the bottom. A nice trick would be to take some lead wire, pull them all back. But no, just keep holding it back today. So now we're making a nice little spot to tie in our Schlappen. And got the hot orange from Hareline. So picking out nicely sized feather, like this one right here. And we're going to strip off fluffy stuff towards the bottom of the feather. Strip it down to the stem, and I'm going to use this to cut right at the stem, base of the feather. Leave ourselves a little tie-in point, and make sure the V of the feather is kind of going away from you as you tie it in. Tie that in. Figure eights or cross wraps there, and leave it right behind the eyes. So tweezers again. And wrap away from me. So same thing, kind of plucking out the Schlappen as I'm turning. Pull them all back. And just want like 3 or 4 turns of this. And then we'll capture the stem. front, a couple behind. And we can snip out our stem here. And pull everything back and just make a wrap or two to make sure those feathers want to lay back. And we can work our thread up to the eye. Now we got that laying back, our legs in there. That looking fishy. So take a little Loctite here, and our final step will be to finish this off and go in there with some Globrite floss to cover up our white thread here. You could also use, just any colored thread. The Chartreuse would look good with the eyes, the orange would look good. I just like the Globrite because it is highly UV and covers up things well. So now we'll start our Globrite right behind the eye here. Make some cross wraps, make sure that's secured. We'll snip out our tag. And we'll flatten our thread or floss out periodically. Cover as much surface area as possible. Cross wrap. Flatten her out again. So it's covering it up nicely. Once you feel like it's pretty covered up, this is really just aesthetically pleasing to the fly tire. I don't think it matters that much for the fish. You already got a super bright fly. So put a little bit of Loctite on there. Do a whip finish. And then we'll finish it up with just a little bit of UV. You could use any UV of your choice. I got some bone dry here that I like. It's thin, spreads well. So throw that on there. Coat it. Helps secure those dumbbell eyes so they never move on you. Fly together after mini fish. Do it with our torch. You can see how much she glows. Got really good colors in there. And last step, so our dikes here, and I'm going to cut that main hook. And orange crush micro silly leg intruder, the tungsten eyes. Thanks for watching. Enjoy tying, and go to AvidMax.com for all your fly tying needs.